Hey everybody, Sean here from VidGamiac.com. Here we are today with our playthrough of Roads of Time, going for every single one of the achievements. Make sure you get into the game, and then what you want to do is want to make sure you get past the intro. Basic rundown of the achievements: you are going to have to get through the first 58 levels of this game in order to get all of the achievements. None of them are going to be missable per se, since all of them are pretty much story related, so just make sure you keep that in mind. That being said, there's going to be a handy dandy cheat that you can take advantage of in order to skip past most of the levels. So at any time in any level, what you can do is you can click in the left stick and that should automatically clear the level for you. Now, unfortunately, you cannot use this cheat on levels that are going to give you achievements, but what you can do is you can use this cheat for all of the other levels. So what you can do is you can use the cheat to skip any levels that don't give you any achievements, and you can skip straight to the ones that do give you achievements. So this is going to speed up the game dramatically. Now, you are going to have to go through all of the levels in order and one at a time, so this isn't going to be super quick, but thankfully you can get through this game without actually having to play most of the levels. So now that we got the basic rundown on how the cheat is going to work, we're just going to skip ahead to the levels that we do actually have to play in order to get their respective achievements. So first level up on our must play list is going to be level 7, so make sure you load that one up once you get here. First achievement you can get in the game is going to be for using the walking speed boost. So make sure you start up the level and you're going to notice in the bottom right, you're going to have this power up in the form of a sandal icon. Make sure you let the meter fill up all the way and then hit the X button to use it. This is going to allow your units to move quicker. You can try to mine some materials if you want to, but just using the power up for the first time, it should get you the achievement. There it is. It's going to be turbo engines for 100 gamer score. Once we get our achievement, thankfully we do not have to play through the rest of the level, so feel free to use the cheat to skip to the end and then get back to the map screen. Next level up on our to-do list is going to be level 16, so make sure you skip all the levels between here and there. Once you get to 16, make sure you load it up. There's going to be 3 achievements we're going to go for on this run. First 2 are going to be basic tutorial things, and then the third one is going to be to actually beat the level. So this is going to be the level where we actually learn how to play the game. That being said, there is going to be a second handy dandy cheat we can take advantage of to make the game a lot easier. If you click in the right stick, it's going to give you 90 of each resource type, and there's going to not be a limit to how often you can use that. So at the start of any level that we are actually going to play, what you want to do is want to make sure you spam in the right stick click. That way you can set yourself up with more than enough resources to get through any one particular level. So, basic rundown of the game. The game is going to be a basic resource manager where you're going to have to clear obstacles in order to get to a certain objective. Clearing these obstacles is going to cost you resources. However, since we have infinite resources thanks to that right stick cheat, we should be able to get through the game easy peasy without having to deal with the resource management part. So, first fundamental of the game is clearing obstacles. Whenever you highlight an obstacle, we're going to use the vines in the bottom right for our first example. It's going to show you how many resources you need in order to clear it. Then, if you click it, you're going to send your little worker over, and then at the cost of those resources, you should clear it. After you clear your first one, you should be good for the Workaholic achievement for 50 gamer score. As for the second fundamental thing, you are going to have building sites. What you can do is you can highlight them, which is going to tell you how many resources it costs in order to set up a building here. Click on it to spend the resources and send a worker over here, and then once the building is complete, you should be good for another achievement right here called Architect for another 100 gamer score. Buildings are going to be primarily a way to train units as well as get more resources. So now that we got the basics as well as the 2 achievements that go along with them out of the way, we're actually going to go for beating the level. So make sure you try to give yourself a bunch of resources using that right stick cheat. And then what you want to do is want to make sure you try to clear a path all the way to the petroglyph area in the upper left, which is going to be the objective of this level. So first thing you want to do for this level is to repair the portal in the upper right. So just make sure you click on it to send a worker over. Don't worry too much about resources because again, you have infinite. Once you have the portal cleared, you should be able to head over to the middle and then clear this bit of debris right here in the middle of the map. Once you clear that, you are going to then be able to head on over here. You can set up a building here if you want to. Buildings aren't going to be necessary because, again, we have infinite resources. But behind the building is going to be this caged warrior, which we're going to need because warriors are going to be the units that take out the enemies. So just make sure you free the warrior. And then we're going to build this bridge right here. Now, some tasks are going to require multiple instances of sending a unit over, so make sure you do that if appropriate. For example, this bridge is going to take 2 uses of a worker in order to complete it. So make sure you take care of that, and you should be able to get across the river. Once you cross the river, you're going to have 3 more obstacles that you need to clear before we get to our first enemy. You're going to have this swamp, and then another pile of rubble, and then finally this pile of rocks. Now, you can upgrade your time machine in order to get more workers. However, you cannot send more than one worker in one particular direction. So having multiple workers is pretty much going to allow you to multitask, but only if they go down different paths. That being said, once you finally clear out these 3 obstacles, we are going to need a way to defeat the enemy. Unfortunately, workers cannot attack enemy units, so we are going to need a warrior. Now, we did just free one from its cage not too long ago. However, in order to use a warrior unit, you are going to need a warrior hut, which is going to be a type of building. There is going to be one right here on the left of the map, which is going to require that we clear out the obstacles in order to get to it. So make sure once you finish clearing a path to that first enemy, we start making a path towards the warrior hut. So make sure you try to figure that out. It's going to start by clearing out this bit of rubble right here, then fixing this bridge towards the bottom of the map, and then clearing out this hole, and then finally you're going to have this downed tree. Once you get rid of all of that, you should be able to repair the warrior hut, and then once you repair a warrior hut, any warriors that you have freed on the map is going to be available to use. You can also train your own warriors by upgrading the warrior hut at the cost of some resources, which isn't going to be a big deal for us since, again, we do have infinite resources thanks to the cheat. So make sure you do that if you want to. Nonetheless, once you have some warriors who are going to be available to put into play, make sure you send them over to the enemy unit and then take them out. It might take a few warriors in order to take out any one particular enemy, depending on what the enemy type is. So make sure you put the resources into that and then take out the enemy. And then once he goes down, you should have access to the objective. So this first enemy, which is going to be a warrior wolf, is going to take 3 warriors in order to defeat. So make sure you send 3 warriors his way. And then once you finally slay him, just make sure you click on this stone right here, which is going to allow you to send a scribe over in order to create a petroglyph. You are going to need to do that twice for this particular objective, but once you've done so and then have the petroglyph completed, you should get the level clear. And with that, you should also get the achievement to go along with it. So here we are, finishing up the level, and there's going to be our fireworks and achievement. This one's going to be Time Patrol for 100 gamer score. Moving on to the next level that we are going to have to play. This one is going to be level 21, so make sure you get to there and then load it up. First thing we're going to want to get out of the way is going to be the next power-up related achievement. As you can see in the bottom right, we're going to have another tool to work with. So let the meter fill up, and then once it does, we're going to activate it by hitting the Y button. And then once we have this activated, we should be good for the activation module achievement for another 100 gamer score. This is for using the work speed boost. Then make sure you get your right stick clicks in, as we're going to have one additional achievement that we're going to go for in this level. This achievement is to defeat the one particular enemy that is going to appear in this level, which is going to require that we need to get our warrior free. So make sure you start out by building the warrior hut right here on the left. Then we're going to fill this hole and then free the warrior from his cage, also on the left side. Then we're going to need to clear the pile of rocks in the middle. You're going to notice every now and again these 3 enemies are going to come in from the top of the screen. They're going to steal the resources that the houses are going to spit out. You are going to need to defeat one of these enemies. So once you get the warrior hut built and the warrior free, you're going to want to wait until these guys come in. And then as they're stealing the resources, what you want to do is want to make sure you try to have the warrior attack them. If you can manage to take one out, you should be good for this particular achievement. So make sure you're quick on the draw and then try to slice and dice one to death. And then if you can pull off the kill, you should be good for the Dark God Servant achievement for another 50 gamer score. Feel free to click in the left stick, as we do not need anything else in this level, and then we're going to get back to the map screen, and then we're going to continue skipping levels until we get to the next one that we have to do in order to get some more achievements. So we're going to skip all the way ahead. Next level up on our itinerary is going to be level 34, so make sure you skip all of the levels in between. Then once we get to here, we're going to load it up. Once we start the level, we're going to be introduced to another power-up, which is going to have another achievement tied to it. So make sure you let that meter fill. As you can see right there in the bottom right, you're going to have this hourglass right here. Let that meter fill up all the way, and then once it's ready, use the power-up with the B button. And then once you activate it for the first time, you should be good for the Time Knot achievement for another 100 gamer score for using the time stop. And then we're going to also have to beat this level in order to get another achievement. So right stick click to get yourself a ton of resources. Then we're going to try to beat this level. This level is going to be pretty multifaceted, as it is going to require that we repair all of the raw altars. There's going to be 3 spread around the map, 1 up top, 1 to the left, and then 1 to the right. It's going to be pretty simple on how to do it. All you have to do is just make sure you clear out all the obstacles, as there aren't going to be a ton of enemies around. Now, because this is going to be a level that is going to have a bunch of different paths, it's going to be very useful that you upgrade the time machine first. So make sure you try to upgrade it all the way so you can have access to 3 workers. That way you could split the load and then send them off in a different direction so they can each work on a different piece in order to try to get each one of the raw altars built. So first one up is going to be pretty simple. It's going to be the one on the left. It's only going to really take 1 obstacle clearance in order to get it. The second one is going to be pretty simple too. Make sure you repair the portal on the left. That's going to allow you to teleport up top. Then we're going to clear out the swamp up top, and that should give you access to the second raw altar right here. And then the last one is going to be a little more complicated. As you can see, it's on the far right, which is going to require that you repair the portal up top. And as you can see, it's going to be blocked by the scarab beetle. Now, the scarab beetle isn't going to be a traditional enemy. It's going to be removed by fixing its altar all the way on the bottom, which is going to require that you repair the portal on the left in order to get to it, as well as try to patch up the obstacle that's going to be at the bottom of the screen. Now, the cool thing about this game is because we have infinite resources thanks to the cheat, and because we have no time limit, if you are too lazy to learn the most optimal path to get to the objective, you can just click on random things until you get all your tasks complete, and you should be able to still finish every level that we have to beat that way as well. No matter how you go about it, once you clear this level, you should be good for the Cornucopia achievement, and that's going to be for 100 gamer score. Then we're going to be back to the map screen, and of course we're going to keep skipping until we get to the next level needed, which is going to be level 40. So start the level up, and then make sure you get your right clicks in with the right stick, and then make sure you get your resources up. This one doesn't require you to beat the entire level. However, it does practically require you to beat the level, as you're going to have to defeat the enemy who's going to be right in front of the exit in order to get the next achievement we're going for. It's going to be pretty simple. You should have a very good grasp on the game at this point. So to get our achievement, we're going to need to clear the path on the left leading up to the exit. Once we encounter our first enemy, we're going to need to start working on the right in order to build the warrior hut and then free the couple of caged warriors here. Then once we have our warriors, we should be able to make a move, take out the first enemy, then repair the bridge. Then just make sure you take out this enemy, and then the enemy right behind him is going to be this guy. It's going to take 4 warriors to take him out, but once you finally take him out, you should be good for this achievement. So take him out, and then once he goes down, you should be good for the big boss achievement, and that's going to be for another 100 gamer score for defeating a lion guard. Once you unlock that, you can feel free to beat the level the normal way, or you could save yourself a few seconds by just using the cheat again. So click in that left stick, and then we're going to be immediately teleported to level 41. There's not going to be a map screen intermission, but you can still use the left stick cheat, so make sure you do that, and then you should be back on the map screen, and then we're going to skip all the way to level 50, which is going to be the last level on this first part of the map. So get into this one. This one is going to require that you beat the level as well, which is going to basically amount to you uncovering the Sphinx's nose in the bottom right of the screen. Alright, so make sure you get those right stick clicks in, and then once you have enough resources, make sure you upgrade your time machine so we can get a bunch of workers. The basics for this one, we're going to need to repair all of the bridges on our way to the bottom right, so make sure you start by going left. Make sure you patch these up. We are going to need a warrior because there's going to be one enemy in the way, so make sure you get that. There's a caged warrior right here in the bottom left. Make sure you get through these 2 bridges right here. Ignore the enemy right here on the right, as it's just going to be protecting some resources, which we don't need since we have infinite. But once you get past this bridge and this swamp, make sure you fix the warrior hut on the left. Once you get that thing up and running, upgrade it, and then you should have a short path to take out this one and only enemy in our way. So make sure you take him out. If you really want to, you can take out that other enemy if you're super bored. But nonetheless, once the path is cleared, feel free to send a worker over to start clearing the snout. You're going to need a couple of them, so make sure you keep sending them this way. And then once you finally pull this thing from the ground, you should be good for another level, as well as the achievement that goes along with this one. So here we are, completing this one. There's the next achievement, Deadly Enemy, for another 100 gamer score. We should get a little cutscene right here, which is basically going to be the wrap up to the first act of this game. So just make sure you mash your way through that. Once you're back on the map screen, we're going to need to advance it to the second map. Make sure you click on the swirly in the upper right, and then we should move on to this part of the map. We're going to need to do the skips until we get to level 58. This is going to be where the last achievement takes place. So start the level up and then make sure you get your right stick clicks in to give yourself a ton of resources. This is going to require everything that you have learned so far in order to beat this level. The objective is to get the 5 pieces of parchment spread around the map, which is basically going to require that you do all of the objectives. So just make sure you click on everything you can once you have your infinite resources and repair everything that you can. Take out all the enemies once you get access to the warrior hut. Warrior hut is going to be in the upper left, so you might want to prioritize that. But if you're efficient about this, the first thing you do is make sure that the time machine is upgraded all the way. Make sure you get your 3 workers and then spread them around the map the best you can. And then immediately go for the warrior hut and the caged warrior, and that way you could start working on the enemies at the same time. And just make sure you split your tasks among the 4, the 3 workers and the warrior, and that way you can dice up the map super duper quickly. Along the way, just make sure you pick up the parchments as you pass them, and you should be able to get this level done pretty quickly. It is going to be the longest of all of the levels that we have to do for achievements, but it is going to also be super duper easy because we have access to those cheats. Nonetheless, once you pocket all 5 parchments, you should be good for the Antique Afficianado achievement right here for another 100 gamer score. This does also happen to be the last achievement in the game, so that should be every single achievement, 1000 gamer score total, and that's all there is to it.